Okay, the red light is on over here. That means we're live. Okay.
The green.
The green is the phone. All right, everyone. Good evening. My name is Yedidia Shofet, and once again we are talking success. And tonight we have a very special guest. This guest is someone who's very close. Once again, I think everyone is close with my father, but is very close with my father, and very close with Nessa Synagogue. Is actually a former president of Nessa Synagogue. Someone who's very active in the Jewish community, especially with Turo. Someone who has done a lot for all of us, and that is Dr. Mojgan Hakimi.
Hi, Yedidia.
Hello. Or I know her as Mojgan because I grew up in the Persian community. Tonight, we're going to once again ask some questions, get to hear her advice and her ideas on how we can actually attack life. Because this is the segment of success. In the Torah, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they were people that were men of God. And they prayed and they did everything with, of course, with the intention of only serving Hashem. However, they also had their own hishtadlut. They also had their own efforts on how they attacked life and how they did things. They didn't just sit around. They were very active. So like this, the Pirkei Avot, the ethics of the fathers, it teaches us who is a wise person, someone who learns from everyone. And tonight we have someone who is very wise and can teach us a thing or two. So, Dr. Hakimi, I'm going to ask you a few questions and be as comfortable and as straightforward as you can. And you can give us some ideas, shed some light onto us. First question is, we all try to strive for success in life. And Baruch Hashem, you tried to be, and you became a psychologist, a professor, someone who's very influential in the community. And the question that I have for you is, how did you get into this? And not only how did you get into this, but what motivates you to continue being the best at what you're doing? Because you can just do what you're doing, but what is that recipe for success that you have, that you try, and that you accomplish every single day?
Yedidia, thank you for putting that adjective next to my name. I think most people do not themselves identify themselves as successful, but there was a question you asked which was a very general question, and that is, what motivates people to be as successful, to go after what they want? I think passion, at least for me, passion was probably the most important thing, and having a support around you, having a healthy family, healthy-minded family that will allow you to grow. How does one feel successful? By finding balance in life, by understanding that you cannot be everything and you cannot have everything, but what you can have is most of the important things at most times in your lives. So if you are not trying to reach to be everything to everyone, and you're not there to get perfection, I think getting to a happy medium will be the beginning of feeling successful and content. But passion is the primary ingredient for going after what you want.
So would you say you became what you became because you're passionate to what you became, or would you say you first became what you became and then you became passionate?
I think I had the passion to begin with, and I had support to go after what my desire and passion was. My greatest supporter was my partner in life, my husband, and then my parents, and then afterwards when my children grew up, they had to share my time, which belonged to them, with what I was passionate about, which was my career. So it was a lot of sacrifices on behalf of my husband, on behalf of my children, and in the support of my parents that got me to where I am. I don't think when you talk to people that are happy in their lives, I don't think they've done it in unison. I don't think they've done it alone. There has always been a support system. And the passion, I think, develops as you go further. The passion embellishes, and you'll see more of that coming out.
So you feel as if that people were counting on you?
I felt people trusted me. I felt people wanted me to succeed. I felt my success is not only my own, but it's shared with other people's that other loved ones around me, and that motivated me to do more.
So, how did you actually get into being the psychologist or the professor?
Teaching was something that actually I fell into. I'll be very honest with you. I was married quite young. I was married when I was 17 to my husband. At the time,
Is that a good choice?
Great. I mean, I'm not saying that everybody should get married young, but I found the person that could make me happy very early in life. Bruce and I decided that I should finish school before I have the children. So what happened was, as I was going through school, I realized that, I'm in undergrad, I realized that psychology was my passion. I also have an MBA. I have a PhD in psychology and an MBA. So I realized that psychology is what I wanted to do. But since the kids were young and I was finishing my master's and my PhD, I didn't want to practice. And there came opportunities for me to start teaching. And I started teaching, and that's when I really, truly realized that that's where my passion is. So I came into what made me happy and content every day. Truly, when I wake up in the morning and I know that I have students waiting for me, and I know that they're there. Yeah.
So once again, people are counting on you.
People are counting on you, and you like to give back. You like to give back, and you like to feel as if you matter. When you're a teacher, it doesn't matter if you're a kindergarten teacher or you're teaching postdoc in Stanford and Harvard. It really doesn't matter. When you're a teacher, you matter. You can make a difference. There are people out there that you can shape the way they think, and they trust you. You are put in a position to influence others.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, that the most important part of it is learning. You might not believe this, Yedidia, from my graduate students and undergrad students, I learn more than I get to teach.
There's a very famous Gemara. I'm going to have to interject right
Absolutely.
here. There's a very famous Gemara that actually says, one of the Chachamim, one of the sages, and it's very interesting that Dr. Hakimi just said this. One of the sages say, I learned a lot from my rabbi. I learned even more from my study partner. But I learned the most from who? My students. You would have thought that you learned the most from your rabbi, but you actually learned the most from your students. And we have a living example right here.
You say that, and there's a trick I use. All my graduate students and other students that are undergrad but are in the upper divisions, I never take exams, I never take quizzes. They write papers, and that's a trick for me to learn, because every student researches the topic in a different way. Every year, especially with the millennials, I have to tell you, your generation, well, you might not consider yourself a millennial, but you're borderline.
I'm old.
No, you're borderline millennial. But whether you're a Y generation or a millennial, truly, these generation is the way they look at life is so different. So when you are blessed to be in a position to deal with them on a daily basis, you learn a lot, and you postpone getting old, at least mentally.
All right. So here we have question number 2. The question is, was there ever a time that you thought it was time to give up? You know, sometimes we hit a wall or a failure, or things aren't going the way that we thought they should go. Has that ever happened to you? And if it has, did you overcome it? Did you use it to your advantage? What happened?
Actually, funny you asked that, because probably one of the aspects of my character that I would like to work on is what you just mentioned, being brave enough not to give up. I have, as I mentioned, this is when I go to my support system. That's why my husband and my mom, my sister and my kids have always been very important to me. Because whenever I felt like I can't do this one, or this is out of my range. This one, no. It's after a phone call that I make either to my husband or my mom. They tell me, why not? Let's look at it again. Let's see. What was the obstacle? I have learned that the positive way of overcoming obstacles is to learn to look at them from a different way. Once I heard a very, very wise comment given by a sage, which I don't remember the name, that is when rocks are being thrown at you, a wise person starts to build a foundation with those rocks. So there's some place, I think it was during my mid-30s, that I learned to pick up the rocks and start building foundations. And that was the beginning of where I realized what I do matters, that I can make a change in somebody's life, that if there's a single mother that's taking my classes, I can adjust the hours for her, that she can finish school, she can finish her degree, she can get a better job, she can help her children better. Or there are other instances that come into life, and when you see other people working through their struggles, you actually learn.
That's true.
It's about learning. It's all of it is about learning, staying attuned and watching how others overcome. That's one of the tricks I use. I look at how other people overcome obstacles, and I learn from them.
Wow. That's as deep as you can get when it comes to that question. I would like to ask you, because we're short on time, one more question, and that is, what advice would you give to others? I know they may not want to be in the field of teaching, being a professor, being a psychologist, but what advice would you give to those that are trying to find success in their life? You know, everyone obviously has their own career, as I said, but success is something that it's an idea that can help us achieve whatever we want. What advice would you give to those that are watching to do?
Truly to go after what they're passionate about. If you are not enslaved to what is being propagandaed out there, if you're not a product of what others want you to be, and if you can take that time to find out what it is that you're passionate about, the world can't and won't stop you, because that's what you're made to do.
Like being autonomous, pretty much.
Very much so. In your way of thinking, being autonomous. We have people that live hundreds of thousands of miles away from home, and they're still enslaved to a structured thinking, and we have people that are living in the same room together, and they have autonomous characters. So one of the best gifts parents can give their children is the freedom and the ability to find themselves. And then accepting your kids for who they are is probably the second part of it. But once we are accepted for who we are, and we accept others for who they are, the passion starts to surface because we feel secure. We only know what we're passionate about when we feel secure enough to be ourselves. So to do ourselves a favor, we have to start accepting others for who they are. When we allow them to surface, we will surface as well. And then we find out what we're passionate about. And from then on, Yedidia Jun is very easy, because once you know what you want, the engine starts. And God has built us in a way that we will find a way to get to where we need to get to.
So you're saying if you want to find yourself, you try to find out about others, and that'll help you have an idea about who you are in the picture?
What I'm trying to say is that if you want to find yourself, you have to accept yourself for who you are.
Okay.
And sometimes for us it's difficult to do that. But if we practice by accepting others for who they are, then we learn to accept ourselves for who we are. If I'm a child, that's quite easy. If I have smart parents, they will accept me. I will learn that I am good the way I am. I don't have to make changes. I can be the Mojgan I am. I can find my passion and succeed. But if I am 45 years old and I'm trying to find out what I'm passionate about, there's parts of me that I have not accepted, so my passion has not embellished. That's when you start accepting others for who they are, and you see the magic happen within you. So primary reason of happiness is accepting and finding balance.
So it depends on where you are in your life.
Where you are in your life. So if you're a mother that you're trying to empower your child, accept and love them for who they are. I'm not saying tolerate every flaw. No. You discipline, you work, you do what's necessary. But if he has green eyes, he has green eyes. You cannot make them brown. Once you accept people for...
If you're a Persian mother, you're going to pray until they turn brown.
There we go. And you know what? Yedidia, you said that. I know we're out of time. But the most painful part is that the child is watching you praying. That's when they realize that they're not enough. And that is why a lot of these passions do not resurface.
Show them acceptance.
Show them acceptance. Let them see they're good at it as they are. And if you're 45, 35 and you're there and what happened during your childhood is past and now it's your turn to accept yourself, sometimes that's difficult because you haven't had the practice. You haven't had the parenting, and most of us haven't. Then the trick is what I said at the beginning, trying to accept others. Once you become benevolent and giving to others, then you start to give to yourself too.
Wow.
So going back to you and being your true self, an authentic self, guaranteed your passion will come out. And once the passion will come out, just leave yourself in the hand of God and nature. We have been designed in a way that once we find our way, we will go to what we consider to be success, each person. And there are going to be obstacles, you're right. But then we will find a way to overcome it, to go above it, dug below it, turn around it. We'll find a way. And you know what? God will put the right people in our path too. Sometimes we don't see a way out, they show us a way out.
That's great. That's great. You see, normally I would have to sum up the interview, but she did it for me, so it's perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, Doctor. I wish you all the best with all of your endeavors, being a great teacher that you are. And this, I hear your students love every single class you give.
Thank you. I'm lucky. I'm lucky to have them in my life.
Thank God. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please share, and we'll see you next week, God willing. Have a great night.